Region 12 ESL Awards. Kim Johnston presenting.
Good evening. I am recognizing Midway High School ESL facilitator Tim Kai Clark. He was awarded by Region 12 for his supporting bilingual students and programs at Midway High School. He was honored during Region 12's Bilingual ESL Support Awards ceremony as the Secondary Parent Engagement Leader of the Year.
And then we have School Counseling Awards. Anne Marie Zellers presenting.
Thank you so much. As I've said before, before the board and for all of our guests one evening, that all of our counselors get to walk through so many celebratory events and times with our students, and we also know that they walk through so many difficult and challenging times as well. So it's always a pleasure and a privilege to recognize them when they have been recognized. So this is an exciting night. 2 Midway counselors were honored by the Heart of Texas Counseling Association, or HOTCA, for their dedication to the profession and their impact on students, families, and staff. South Bosque Elementary Counselor Kara Fisher was recognized as Outstanding Elementary Counselor, and Midway Middle School Counselor Cindy Cates was honored as Outstanding Middle School Counselor. In true Kara Fisher fashion, at 12 a.m. this morning, she sent an email to say, "I am so sorry. Thank you for this recognition, but I am in labor." So I will not be there, she said. But it wouldn't have surprised me if she didn't show up. But she did have a healthy baby boy today, so we're excited for her. In addition, ESC Region 12 recognized 4 Midway counselors at their annual School Counselor Appreciation Luncheon and Award Ceremony. In recognition of their outstanding service to the students, families, and staff they support, these ladies were all named 2024 Region 12 Elite Counselors and finalists for the Region 12 Counselor of the Year Award. Congratulations to Renee DeMarie at Park Hill Elementary, Kim Balajian at Spiegelville Elementary, and Lindsay Ostrom at Chapel Park Elementary.
Tonight, I have the privilege of presenting the Midway Extra Mile Award to one of our staff members who has gone above and beyond creating additional learning opportunities for students. Congratulations to Midway High School Child Nutrition Assistant Manager, David Wyrick. Come on up, David. David was instrumental in pioneering the Empower Student Culinary Work Program for students with special needs. Through hands-on training in the school cafeteria, students learn food preparation, safety protocols, and customer service, gaining real-world experience and the confidence essential for life beyond high school. David also helped introduce a local high school culinary competition and mentors student participants from Midway High School. David's impact on students and his willingness to take on additional responsibilities are certainly deserving of this recognition, and we thank you.
Ashley, my apologies. On my list, it was supposed to be Dr. Allen, and I saw you walking up there, and I thought, well, maybe it's you. Thank you. So, but now it's Dr. Allen.
Now it is. Yes, sir. So we're going to do a recognition tonight based on U.S. News and the Waco and Best High School. U.S. News and World Report evaluated nearly 25,000 public high schools to identify the top performers in 2024. Midway High School continues to be ranked number 1 in Waco area high schools. This school is also among the top 12% of the nearly 18,000 nationally ranked high schools and the top 11% of over 2,000 high schools ranked in the state of Texas. Additionally, in the Wacoans Best of Waco 2024 survey, Midway High School was once again voted best public high school in Waco. The principal of Midway High School is Allison Smith. And while I'm here, I'm going to go off script for just a moment, and I want to recognize Lori Sapp. Where's Lori? Stand up, Lori. This is Lori's last board meeting with us. She has retired. I too hope to retire one day, so yes, we celebrate this with you. 8 years in district, a little more. How many years in the career total? 36 years total, y'all. One of the things that she's done for us over the years, and probably the biggest lift, has been accountability and testing. And with all the changes that we've experienced over the years and moving from all paper to online platforms, it is a tremendous lift. And you've served the district faithfully and worked like a coal miner in the process. And so I didn't want the night to get away without at least the board having a chance to know that this was your last board meeting with us, and I want to recognize that publicly. Thank you for your service, Lori. And then finally, at last month's board meeting, we named the principal at River Valley Middle School, but I didn't actually get to introduce you because she was on vacation, but she's back and she brought her husband with her. Jennifer Allison, if you'd please stand and be recognized. And if you'd like to introduce, I know you don't need a mic, if you'd like to introduce Wes and share any remarks that you have.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me here tonight. I appreciate that. I did feel really bad about not getting to be here, but we already he was on business. I was just getting to be alive. And we were in California. This is my husband, Wes Allison. Wes is who I attribute bringing us to, or helping to bring us to Central Texas 20 years ago. And at that time, I started my administrative career right here at Midway ISD as an assistant principal at the high school. We were in what is now Midway Middle School that year. And then got to move into the first year of the new building with students as Alpha A through E assistant principal. Served as career tech coordinator for 3 years, and then finished out my first 10 years as an administrator as Midway Middle School principal. Then God led us to have an opportunity just to get to be a mom to our own kids, and I went into private business and industry for 5 years. Didn't know that I was coming back, but God had another plan, and ended up, thanks to Joe Kuchera, ended up going back to Lorena ISD for the last 7 years. Again, we just kind of are faithful servants, and God has brought me back home. So I'm happy to get to finish my administrative career where I began it. Looking forward to just getting to support the students and the families of Midway ISD. Actually, this week has been my first 2 days in the office out of River Valley, so baptism by fire right now, but it's lots of fun. And everywhere I go, was at Chicken Salad Chick with part of our staff today, just talking about school stuff and families all coming over to say welcome back. So I feel the warmth and the welcome, and I'm super happy to be back. So thank you for having us.
Welcome back.
Delighted to have you back, Allison. Congratulations again to all of the folks that we've recognized tonight, and our students particularly. Appreciate y'all being here on a summer night. That said, it's a public meeting. You're welcome to stay, but got something better to do, we'll understand, and we'll pause briefly for those that do have something they'd rather do.
Well, the big way. Go now and get something. Okay. No. I know he's bleeding. I saw that when I got up. It's good to see. It's a dry blood. I couldn't tell when I walk by, but
Pete Russell?
So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I already hooked your neck, but yeah.
Well, you know, it's not even. No, no, you know what's good? I hit it on the food. Just a little bit. I hit it on the food. I was getting a Diet Coke. I'm used to that. No, it's not sore. I'm sorry.
I just wanted you to be aware that way if you put your head back there, I didn't want you to get your
no, you know, you're close.
I'm used to it.
We knew you weren't gonna pass out, or
No. As you can tell, I frequently hit my head. You know? Just one of those things.
then there were a few, yeah.
It did get quieter. Okay, information items. We've got a number of information items. I'm going to first give the board an opportunity if any board member has questions or comments or wants to talk about any of those. We can take that up. If not,
My only question is, several of those things we'll approve next month, I guess. Is that right?
right,
Yes, sir.
That's what I thought.
right.
And with your permission, Mr. Russick, this policy update 123, we got very late last week, and we're still digging through it. We wanted you to see it because we are going to want it approved next month. And I would draw your attention in particular to CKE local. That would be the policy that would formalize the creation of our police department. You might have noticed the vehicles as you were coming in this evening. You actually already see an updated draft of that particular policy at your dais. That's how fast we're digging through and making adjustments. And so I expect there to be some of these other local policies that are updated and amended between now and then. But we did want to get these policies in front of the board as quickly as we could. So you have them to start looking at, but I do expect there to be some tweaks between now and July.
Very good, thank you. And just as a reminder to the board and everybody else, the volume of 123 is large, but it's a post-legislative and the vast majority of them are legal. We don't adopt those. The state's already done that for us. The local ones are the only ones that we'll be actually considering for adoption next month, as Colin said. So anything else from the board on any information items? If not, we have a person, a member of the public, Andrew Pierce, who has signed up to speak to 6D federal programs, use of funds for the 24-25 school year.
The board members there. Thank you so much.
Can I hand these out to you?
Sure. Mr. Pierce, we appreciate you being here. Members of the public are always welcome to come and address agenda items. This one is no different. And Ms. Watts will keep time. Under our board policy, we generally allocate 3 minutes for comments from the public on agenda items. I hope that you were aware of that and that your comments will be within that allotted time.
Yes, sir.
All right, the floor is yours, sir.
Okay. Oh, hello, and thank you for letting me speak. Item 6D concerns over $2 million of federal funding. Some people think to keep federal funding, we have to follow the Biden administration's Title IX new interpretation, which says we need to allow any boy who feels like a girl into the women's restroom, and teachers plus students must use students' preferred pronoun, like saying he, him, when the student is obviously a girl. And if a teacher or student doesn't use the correct pronoun, they get punished. I believe these kinds of policies violate the First Amendment and the Texas Religious Freedom Restoration Act of 1999. Although I'm not a lawyer, I do know teacher Jessica Tapia won a settlement of $360,000 when her school district tried to force her to use the preferred pronouns and keep parents in the dark about their children's gender identity. It is wrong to force teachers to affirm harmful delusions/ideologies. As a teen, Chloe Cole was affirmed, and now her body is damaged for life. Imagine if one teacher had decided to not affirm. I have heard about a report out of McLennan County Public School where a student was affirmed by teachers without the parents' knowledge or consent. I'm sorry I can't give you more details because of FERPA. Some people will say we must affirm our kids will commit suicide. However, when I examine this, considering the timeless truth we were created to be male and female, there is a different result. Please see the study below. So this is about sex reassignment doesn't work. Here's the evidence. And this was a very large-scale study done in Sweden where they examined people over many years, and they found that having transgender surgery, puberty blockers, that thing actually increased the chances of suicide over time. So that's all I had to say. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you, Mr. Pierce. We appreciate you having your comments typed out. That's helpful.
Thank you.
That's good. Anything else on information items from the board? If not, we'll move on to presentation discussion items, the first one of which is our monthly financial report. Wesley.
Right. Good evening, members of the board. We'll take a look at our May 31st month-end financial report. If you look on page 504 of your board packet, you'll see a statement of general fund revenues, expenditures, and other changes in fund balance. And as a reminder, so this schedule is kept on a cash basis. So cash basis is an accounting term for so as the money actually is received. So our local revenue as tax deposits are made to the bank, state revenue when we actually receive our TEA payments from the state, not what we expect or project to receive. That's on the last page of the report where we kind of project the year in. So that being said, our total expenditures percentage of budget last year at May 31st, we had spent 76.9%. You can see kind of there at the bottom right. This year, up to this month, you may have noticed our expenditures have been pretty close as a percentage compared to last year. This month, it's dipped down to 72.9. That's not necessarily a change in the behavior of our expenses, but we've actually booked the reversal of the salary accrual from the August days that we've talked about, the $4.5 million bump, kind of the one-time adjustment from changing our fiscal year. So we did make that entry, so that's why you see our expenditures lower as a percentage than last year at the same time. And most of those salaries were booked in Function 11 instruction there, so you can see that 70% of our budget in Function 11. And actually in Function 12, you'll see the actual current month expenditure is negative, and that's just because the reversal of that accrual was actually more than the expenses in Function 12 for this month. So now if you'll look on the last page of the report, page 515 in your board packet, we'll look at our projection for the general fund for 23-24. Do have a couple adjustments that we made this month. The big one is, we mentioned before, our certified values in July that we received accounted for the increase in the homestead exemption to $100,000. It did not account for those that their taxes were frozen, so over 65 or the disabled. So if their taxes that were frozen in whatever year previous, if the increased homestead exemption actually dropped their taxes below that amount, then they get the benefit of that. And that was not reflected in our certified values that were submitted to the state. So for instance, if our Tier 1 entitlement was $60 million, and that in our Tier 1 taxes we raised $55 million, then we know the state would pay us $5 million, right? Well, actually, just for illustration purposes, we certified $55 million of taxes, but actually with this adjustment, maybe we're only collecting $50 million, but the state was still paying us $5 million. So they made a hold harmless adjustment for that in the last couple of months. We'd heard talk about it. School finance consultants had kind of been talking to the state, so they were trying to hash something out. And we actually saw it come through on the TEA Summary Finance and also the Region 13 school finance template that we use to project revenue. And so that was about a $900,000 increase to our projected revenue for the year. So that's why we see an increase there. In our total expenditures, we budgeted $87.5 million, projecting $82.7 million. So really, if you take into account that $4.5 million reversal of the salary accrual, we're really right on target for our expenditures for the year. Any questions?
How is it that we're projecting to save over $4 million on personnel over the year?
That's that reversal of the...
Is that just that? Okay.
Yes.
Make sure that was all of what that was, and there
4.5.
wasn't something else going on.
And we did make an estimate too.
That's great.
So our we do have another salary accrual this year because we pay over 12 months, even though teachers have already earned basically their salary through May. And so we worked with our auditors this month, Cindy Pointer and I, and come up with the accrual for the remaining 2 months, basically just their unpaid contract balance. And so that's factored in here too, and that was a little bit of an adjustment as well.
Okay.
Incredibly impressive work, Wesley. Yeah, well done. Quite a turnaround.
Very good. Other questions for Wesley on this item? Because we're going to get to the budget later on. All right, thank you, Wesley. Next up, extracurricular program annual update, First Athletics, Mr. Shelton.
Thank you. This is always a fun time. I appreciate y'all giving me the opportunity to do this. I will say Ms. Wynn told me I had exactly 10 minutes, so I'll go fast. If you have any questions, but feel free to stop me and ask. But I can never get this thing to work. There we go. This is probably one of the coolest pictures I've taken in a while. These are the 15 district championships we won this year alone. There's one trophy that's not present. That's the district runner-up. Our boys golf team won district championship and district runner-up. But there's 15 district championships there out of the 21, which is pretty cool, and pretty sure that's never happened, certainly my tenure here. So very, very proud of that. In the fall, I broke it up in the fall, winter, spring. I won't go through all this, but I was incredibly proud of all of our fall teams. Volleyball had a great run. Cross country had a great run. Had a young man make it to the state meet. Football obviously was an incredible turnaround, and exceptionally proud of those kids, the coaching staff, what they did. We got to host a home football game, playoff football game for the first time in about 3 years, which is great for our community, great for our fans. It's profitable, all the boxes. Very proud and appreciative of all the work those kids and coaches did in that football season. Water polo's in year 2 of the UIL pilot. We've done water polo, competed in water polo for several years. But this is actually the year 2 of the UIL pilot program. We've qualified every year in the UIL playoff structure. Dan Marlin does a terrific job with water polo and swim. We do swim after water polo. They overlap a little bit, so he gets a little busy. And then we swim in the winter and finish in January, February. Both teams won the district championships, qualifying 19 swimmers to the regional meet. We had a young man, Ben Blaylock, who set a PR at the regional meet and narrowly missed the state meet. He got third. They took the top 2, and he wasn't the fastest third. So incredibly good season. Girls basketball won the district championship. Powerlifting, we had two young ladies finish 3rd and 8th in their weight classes at the state meet. And boys basketball is one of the teams that did not qualify for the playoffs and didn't earn the district championship. They tied for 4th place. We lost in a play-in game against Bryan, putting us out of the playoffs. So that was one of the ones that did not make it. Boys soccer, girls soccer, both won district championships, had outstanding seasons. It was the first district championship in boys soccer in, I think, 10 years. Wow. A long time coming. Great effort by those young men. A lot of seniors in that class, and they've been building toward this. So I was really proud of their efforts. Girls soccer, again, won the district championship. They were pretty young. So they got a lot of young ones coming back. So excitement for the future. Girls golf, again, a district champion, regional qualifiers. They lost a couple of seniors, but three of their contributors are underclassmen. So expect a bright future for them. Boys golf, again, like I said, won a district championship. Were district runner-ups as well. Their second team that they submitted in the district tournament. Qualified for regionals. We narrowly missed the state tournament again. Hole 18 at Berry Ridge. It was a 2-day tournament. Hole 18 cost us. We were in it kind of going into that, and then as our 5 rolled through, kind of fell out of it on the 36th hole of the tournament. So pretty tough ending for the boys golf team. Track. This is one of the groups that I'm really, really proud of. We've had some outstanding track athletes come through here over the years, some outstanding track athletes. But as teams, we haven't fared always really well. We didn't win district, but we were leading in the boys' first place going into the last couple of races, and then kind of lost it. Our girls had a chance. They were hovering around second, third, ended up third. But our JVs won for the girls, and our JV got second on the boys' side. Qualified 40 athletes for area, and then 6 for the regionals through over 8 events. So incredibly proud of the track team, those coaches, that they're doing a good job. I'm really happy with the trajectory of that program, and hopefully we can build upon this and try to get a district championship next year. Tennis kind of falls into 2 seasons. Obviously, we have team tennis. They won their 22nd consecutive district championship, which is pretty remarkable in the fall as team tennis. We lost at College Park in the regional semifinals. in a tough match. And then in the spring, we do individual tennis. We won 4 out of the 5 district championships there, qualifying 7 to regionals, and then we had 2 young ladies in girls doubles make it to the state tournament. So baseball, softball, both incredible runs, great district tournament, great non-district schedule, great district schedule. We won a lot of games. Senior laden in the baseball side. Unfortunately, both of them we lost in walk-offs in both of those. Obviously, the softball, in baseball, the same thing against Rockwall in the 3rd round. So great seasons, hard way to lose, hard way to end it. I did drop off a medal at your dais today, so I appreciate all your efforts and support along the way. State qualifiers, obviously softball we recognize tonight. Addie Sproul and Emma Ray were the girls doubles teams, couldn't be here tonight. Powerlifting, Faith and Aslan, like I said, they were 3rd. Aslan was 3rd, Faith was 8th in their weight class in the state meet, and then Jack, I think he finished 36th out of 150 runners at the state cross country meet in 6A. That's pretty impressive. He was moving. Some academic numbers. We have about 870 high school students that participate in athletics at the high school. That's about a third, which is typically our goal. We try to get around 33, 34%. As our enrollment has jumped, we've added some teams where we could. B teams, sophomore teams in basketball, things like that. So we're trying where we can, carry large teams, add teams where we can to kind of keep up with that third. And we've done a decent job at that, I think. One thing that's not on the slide is we had 55 Super Syntax athletes from the Waco Trib. We had 14 first team, 14 second team, and I think 28 honorable mentions. And then 3 players of the year, 2 in water polo, and then Kelsey Mathis was softball player of the year, Super Syntax. So that's an impressive stat. We had 93 all-state academic kids, 90 first-team all-district athletes, and then you all know, we've heard this a bunch of times, but kids that are plugged in are active, tend to do better in school, academically as well. Our passing rate is 96% each 6 weeks. That's been our average. So 96% of our athletes, of the 869, are passing all their classes each 6 weeks. So we're absolutely proud of that. Signing day, we had 24 students commit to play at the next level across a variety of sports, from boys soccer, football, baseball, softball. We had a cheerleader this year as well, boys golf. 24 across, like I said, a variety of sports. So we're very, very appreciative to be able to have a signing day. I like that event. I appreciate those that came. That's a cool event. It's a great representation of athletics and Midway athletics in this community. So I would implore you, next year when we have it, if you can come, I think you should. It's a great reflection of this community, and it's a really cool event. Something we're really proud of.
Very well done and a lot of fun to be a part of.
Thank you, Ms. Wentz. Our core value in athletics, competition, integrity, service, those are kind of the things we believe in, and as we're making decisions and going through things, we kind of throw it against that and compare it to those 3 words if it's right for us to do. Service is a big one. They all carry equal weight. We ask all of our athletic programs to commit some sort of community service. The only rule I really have with it is I ask them that there's some sweat equity involved. Canned drives, food drives are all great and absolutely needed. But I like it for our kids to go out and actually participate, be there on the front lines doing things. And we've done things from Challenger League Baseball, which is a really cool event that we've done with baseball and softball, Fuzzy Friends, HOT cleanup, lake cleanups, reading with the elementary kids, opening car doors at elementary schools. So all of our programs do some sort of community service. I think on there it was about 1,800 hours or so, 1,700 hours of community service amongst our kids. So, we want to develop servant leaders. That's one of the things we're trying to do, and we think this is a big part of achieving that. Booster Club, these are our Booster Club, our executive board members of our Midway Athletic Booster Club. Their stewardship is great. They do a great job of keeping things in control. We cannot do the things in athletics that we do, provide opportunities for our kids, without this support. Our gross profit last year was almost $450,000. That's from membership, that's from merchandise, concession sales, programs, all of those things. And then the cost of those goods, bring it down so our net profit's around $210,000, $207,000. That sounds like a lot of money. You think on a Friday night football, if we're out of town and we've got to feed the team twice, that's $2,000 right out of the pot to feed those kids. So, I mean, you know this as well. Things are expensive. Things are getting higher. Majority of our Booster Club profits go towards just feeding our kids, and that's just where we're at in life. We were able to award scholarships, almost $30,000 in scholarships. We had 34 kids receive a scholarship, some $1,000, some $500. But we try to do that every year, so The families that have joined the Booster Club, those kids have an opportunity to apply for Booster Club scholarships, and then we have a Booster Club committee that oversees the selection process for that. So $30,000 is a significant amount of money in my mind. I put this in here this year, the Hall of Fame. Typically, and it's done intentionally, to be honest. We induct the Hall of Fame typically when y'all are at TASB. Part of that is because I need your room. You're in the press box. But we inducted 3 this past year. Coker Reed, class of 09. Ryan Harlan was class of 99. And then Bill Farmer retired. Coach Farmer retired in 08. Koki played basketball, won a state championship, also qualified for shot put state, went on to play at UT. She's here in town. She does a lot of community things still, has helped us with youth basketball, officiates. Ryan Harlan, who I did not know until this process, I knew his younger sister, was a decathlete, competed in the heptathlon as well at Rice, won a state championship here in 110 hurdles, in high jump, was on the Olympic team, has been a USA champion multiple times, very impressive career, competed at Rice, very, very impressive young man.
One of the coolest things he did was he broke a backboard.
Broke at MT Rice.
Before we played a basketball game, and we had to figure out where we were going to play it.
Yeah, it was at MT Rice, wasn't it? At the basketball tournament?
Yeah.
I had heard that story.
Before the refs came out, he dunked it, broke the backboard. We had to go play in the auditorium.
Yeah. Hey, he looks like he could still dunk a basketball. Hey, Coach Farmer was a longtime cross-country girls track coach. Won several state championships. Was a great mentor to a lot of our young coaches and very deserving of being in the Hall of Fame. These are our hosted events. These are our non-midway events that we've hosted. Playoff games, regional track, something like that. 24 contests, sold almost 15,000 tickets, $134,000 in revenue. Brought in. So those are people that are eating on Hewitt Drive, getting gas, maybe staying in hotel rooms, things like that, help contribute to commerce on this side of town. And then these are Midway ISD home events. So middle school, high school events, 143 home events. This does not include things that are on the road. So you can almost over double that to how many events we actually have in athletics. But these are our home ones. 50,000 tickets sold, 210, which goes to general revenue. And then one of the things that we've done, and it's been a topic of conversation in the past, where we all move to online platforms for ticketing, and there's a credit card fee, and there's a processing fee, and the company gets so a $3 ticket ends up costing you $4.10 or 20 cents. So one of the things we really invested in this year was creating an all-sport pass for families. It's a $40 pass for an adult, $20 for a kid, and that'll get you into anything but varsity football. So that was kind of our strategy to offset some, getting hit $1.10 at each transaction. And we sold 640 passes. A lot of them were at the middle school level. But if you have a pass, it gets you into anything but varsity football. And we can't do that at varsity football because of the way we pay our officials. We have to have an accurate head count at the gate because officials' pay is determined by how many people are in the stands. But it gets you into everything else. So I think it's a pretty good deal, and we'll continue to focus on growing this and promoting that. Summer camps. These numbers are a little light on the reflected here because we had to take this on Tuesday. So it didn't count in everybody who walked up and registered this week or ended up at the end of last week. But roughly, we've got about 1,000 kids that come to Midway Athletics every day during the summer, particularly in the month of June. About the size of River Valley or Midway Middle. Grades 7 through 12 can do strength and conditioning. And then kindergarten, first grade on up to incoming 9th can do our sport camps. So we've got about 1,000 kids coming every day. It's great. It keeps us busy, maybe busier in the summer than we are in the fall and spring sometimes it feels like. But very, very proud of our summer camp. And our coaches do a tremendous job of running those and making sure that those are worthwhile for those kids. And our numbers continue to grow as a result of that. This is really the last slide probably, but we've talked about Midway Premier League here in the past a few times. Our youth sports, where we would host football games at our 8 acres or Rice Field. Basketball, we had a lot of kids play basketball. We had 275 kids play basketball last year. It's been really good. We started that because there was kind of a hole in the market for kids that can play affordable place to play basketball and flag football. So we started that about 7 or 8 years ago with a guy named Paul DeLeon, and it ran well, really well. But every year someone would roll off. Whoever was running would roll off, and then we would kind of almost start from scratch. Having to find somebody and then train them up and then get it going again. So this year during the winter we developed this executive board here with Russ Davis as the president, Josh Deaton as vice president, and you read the names. But we started the Midway Youth Sports Association, basically to replace Midway Premier League, but it's very similar to a Midway Little League or something that will be sustainable, where we're not dependent upon one person to preside over it or myself having to preside over it. Something that'll last a lot longer than the people that are involved in it right now. So there's a board. We have a football committee. We'll have a basketball committee, and our goal is to continue doing football and basketball with a little bit more of an organized approach in terms of who's overseeing it. Like I said, we had 275 kids in basketball play at the middle school gyms on Saturdays during the winter. We have about 150 kids signed up for flag football right now. So pretty proud of this, and I think this is something that is great for the community. It's great for young families. I think it helps keep kids here, within our school district, because it's they can come play with their friends. The parents are coaching them, and they're ours, and they're Midway Panthers on their jerseys, regardless of which team they're going to be on, they're going to be Midway Panthers. So that was something that was very important to us. So,
Brad, I have a question on that.
Yes, ma'am.
How big is your board? How many people are involved in this?
That's
That's the whole board?
This is our executive board.
That's your executive
and
board, right.
then we have I think it's a 7-person football committee.
Okay.
And we haven't created the basketball committee. We're taking applications if you're interested. We'll start basketball when we start football. And we'll start football in September. We closed registration I think last weekend. We'll have tryouts. We wanted the teams to be fairly even. We didn't want someone to bring in a stacked team and just beat everybody by 100. We didn't think that was the right. So there'll be tryouts. There'll be team selections like in Little League. Then once we get football going, then we'll start concentrating on establishing basketball.
So how are you putting the board together? Because I would think you'd want a diversified board of all types of people and women and so forth on the board.
Absolutely. And we have 2 women on our football board.
Okay.
Actually, so the way that this came about is we did not do football this past year because we didn't have anybody run it. And then we kind of ran out of time and we couldn't find anybody. And then basketball was starting to ramp up, and parents were kind of clamoring, hey, on Facebook, on our social media accounts, hey, why aren't we doing something? Why isn't Midway doing something? Why isn't Midway doing something? So this group of parents were actually the ones that came. Russ Davis was one of the first ones. Seth Hansen's up there, and Josh Deaton. Those 2 were the first ones that came in and said, hey, we want to do this. How can so I said, hey, well, we need help. It can't be just one person running it. And we kind of set a vision for it. And then they kind of recruited a few people that they've known through youth sports to begin it. And then football, Kevin Summers, everybody knows Kevin. Kevin's going to be our commissioner for the football league, which helps because he's, obviously a district employee, cares about our facilities, making sure they're in good repair and good working order when they leave. But it's a volunteer deal, so it's really word of mouth.
Okay. Are you
So-
putting this out on all their different sports, Facebook, so everybody, if someone's interested,
Yes,
they
we put it on
get in
ours,
touch?
and then Seth, Seth's a tech guy. He created their website, their social media accounts, and then started pumping it out that way too. And then the Midway way, once the moms got a hold of it, it started.
No, I think it's a
started
great
going.
idea. I just want to make sure we have a
Oh,
good,
yes, ma'am.
round, diverse group of people.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. So, and that's all I got. So.
Any newer emerging sports that you see being added in the future?
We had a wrestling club this year that competed for the first time. I think they had about 28 kids that ended up competing. A lot of women, a lot of female students competed, and they competed about 4 or 5 wrestling, some JV tournaments. We have some complications, just facility space. We don't have enough facility space as is for the teams we do have. Where they're going to practice, things like that. We're still trying to work through. So it'll be another club again next year. But I very much see that will be the next sport that we add. In terms of UIL, that's probably the next one. There's a push for lacrosse. There's a push at the UIL level, a push for lacrosse, a push for men's volleyball. I think they're still a long ways away from those being implemented as UIL sports. But those are probably the next ones on the horizon. But I see wrestling coming here as an official UIL sport.
Yeah. Other questions? Very good. Thank you,
Awesome.
Brad.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate
Well
it.
done.
Thank you.
Fine arts, Daryl. Not to be outdone.
Tough act to follow, that's for sure.
You will follow it well, I have no doubt.
Well, thank you so much. Come on. It hates me too. There we go. Oh, it's going the other way. We'll back up. Great. So thank you so much. I know that it's June, and I know that I have, negative 30 minutes, so I'm going to go as quick as I can. My presentation should only take 40 or 45, so we'll be honestly, I could speak for hours, days, weeks about the great things that are happening in Midway Fine Arts, but I will keep it short. I gave you a 4-page or so PDF of some details that you can hammer out and think on. Thank you so much for your support. Without it, we would not be where we are right now. We still continue to serve all of our elementary age students. We serve 6 through 12 for band, choir, orchestra. We serve 7 through 12 for theater. As we continue to grow, we continue to look for facilities and spaces and so that we don't dance in hallways and things like that. And it's a wonderful problem to have.
I'm tickled beyond words that we've moved dance to the middle school.
Yes, it's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
Our elementary programs, while some districts and my peers in fine arts worlds are having to cut programs, we are not, which is, which is thankful for all of your support. All of our instruction is of course, TEKS-based. We are certified music teachers for all of our elementary campuses. We're 6 of 8 for our art campuses for getting certified teachers, which is a blessing. Those 2 are still paras, but we've had them for years and years and years, and they are great teachers. So we're not in any hurry to run off somebody that's that good. At our secondary level, we offer many choices. We continue to offer lots of things for our kids to choose from with orchestra and dance and the different choirs and bands and jazz band and all of those things that you see before you. Our curricular and extracurricular programs continue to grow. And as we all know, and I literally preach to the choir, the students of the future are using technology that hasn't been invented yet. And we are proud that the fine arts helps those students gain the necessary skills to be outside of the box thinkers and to work in collaboration so that when the technology that I will not be able to use, they're going to be totally capable of using. These are just a few. The first time I built this slide, it was so small that nobody could read it, of some of the awards and achievements that we've had. We're very proud that we still have superior achievement with our students in UIL, TMEA, NATS, this, that, all of those things. We were able to get our Fine Arts YouTube channel up and going even more with 1,000 and plus subscribers.
Wow.
We've got 74,000 plus views so far. Since we've implemented it. We were able to do that through ESSER money. Now that ESSER is gone, we're still making that happen. Where we've seen the biggest impact with that is with our elementary performances and our middle school band and choir performances, where those kids can go back and watch those performances the next day. And our band and choir and orchestra programs are doing self-critiques, which is great.
Wow.
It's a wonderful way to use that type of technology. Special thanks to our technology department and Jesse and Scott and those folks who have gone above and beyond just to give us an extra hand there.
Wow.
So how do we define success in our fine arts department? Well, obviously there's UIL and marching band and TMEA All-State and all of those fun things. But we define success in lots of different ways, especially at different levels. So when we're talking about our elementary music and art programs, they don't go to a contest. We don't judge their third grade performance. What we look for and what our number one goal is for those kids, when they go to that music and art class, are they excited about going down the hall to see that teacher or to go to that class? And are they sad when they have to leave? If we know we can hook them when they're young, we'll keep them forever. So when we get those goals, we get those kids up to middle school and high school, we really want to just instill that love of the arts, that love of band, choir, orchestra, dance, art, theater, all of those things. And we have many kids that double. So that way, when they finish high school, they still sing in choir at church, or they still play their instrument once in a while, or they're in a little community theater and things like that. That's where we really see the success in our programs. Yes, we do great at UIL, and yes, we get sweepstakes, and yes, we have all-staters, but yes, we also have kids that stay with us in college, and we have adults, and we have adults that are now kids in our program that are so excited about kids. And I've been here long enough to see those kids and grandkids now, which is scary. My grandkids in your, I don't want to hear it. But so, obviously Les Mis was a giant undertaking for us. Thank you. I've shared some goals with you in there, and I've got them on this other page, but our biggest goal for the musical is to provide our students with a high quality experience that they can't get anywhere else. And we really feel that we did that. It's real world. It was a professional production with full orchestra, with full cast, gorgeous sets, lighting, sound, everything was great.
I shared that we were doing that with some of my colleagues across the state, and it was a mic drop moment of, you're going to do
it
Les
is.
Mis
They're
in
like,
high
you're doing
school."
what?
Yeah.
And then when we tell them we're doing it with 2 casts, they look at me like I'm, you're okay. And then, oh yeah, and we had 4 different string sections. How do you pull that off? Well, we do, because it's what we do. We enjoy doing it. The goal for the musical was to break even financially. We started off with a budget of about $54,000. We spent nearly $60,000. But we sold enough tickets and we had enough donations come in, especially last-minute program donations, that put us just over by about $5,000. So we're able to take that money and use it for little things here and to kind of fund next fall's middle school musical, which we're planning on doing Frozen Junior. So,
Wow.
so I'm excited.
That's the the same way we
Combined
did it
middle
2 years ago?
schools, yes, that's the
great.
plan.
That's great.
Once we hire our middle school
exciting.
River Valley choir director, we'll solidify all those and those dates.
When do you think when will that performance be? Do you know? What
We are right now looking at November 8th and 9th. But that's not set until we get everything in place. Exactly. But as we continue to grow, we continue to utilize our staff in the best ways that we can. We're thankful for the budgets. We're thankful for the support of the board. We're thankful for the support of all of our partners, whether it's Brad or Jesse or Emily. I mean, all of us. It's truly a village that helps raise our fine arts child, and we're so thankful for all that. I'll take any questions.
I just want to say thank you for doing an outstanding job year
thank
after
you.
year. Your enthusiasm, your energy has never wavered.
We have fun.
And you just have such a high reputation, and you just do a great job, Daryl.
Thank
So
you.
I
Thank you very much.
for doing that.
All right, good stuff.
I wanted to pass on a comment from a sweet friend of mine who's the assistant director for Joy School of Dance. And she said the hours that go in, and they performed at the PAC.
Yes.
The hours that go into producing a show like this are not easy. We had 4 days of dress rehearsals, some lasting almost 12 hours before producing 9 shows in 3 days. And trust me when I said there's nothing else the 40 of us would rather be doing. And that we can support that effort with our facility.
I tell you, we do, and I'll address that very quickly. We rent our facilities out to groups throughout the year. Honestly, I handpick those groups. We don't just turn it over to whoever, because we want to make sure that our facilities are kept straight. We want to make sure that the community support is there. And the number one thing on my list is, do those groups involve Midway students or Midway alumni, or what will they do for the community? Whether it's a dance recital, all 5 dance recitals that come through have Midway students in them in some way. Or the Baylor Zing show, which is the offshoot They do a fundraiser for Mission Waco, and 100% of the proceeds go to Mission Waco. Well, we can't write a check to Mission Waco, but we can rent our facility and help them. And so we don't charge them any more or less. It's all above board, but it's what we can do. Now, I'll donate my time, or somebody on our staff will say, well, I'll do that for free because I want to help. But it's those kind of things. And it's the abilities that our facilities provide to help those groups that we're very appreciative of.
And you should see this man do lighting design, because he's actually really, really good
I
at it.
love having fun.
Really good at it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Daryl.
Daryl, really appreciate you.
We're going to move request for special ed mediation to the end, and because we're going to go into closed session on that, so we're going to take up the consideration items next, first of which is the consent agenda. We have our minutes from our May meeting, our new positions for the police department and our security specialists, some resignation recensions for teachers, and our resolution on summer hours. Does any board member wish to remove any item from the consent agenda? If not, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Tullis,
Second.
second by Ms. Watts. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. MOU easement with the city of Waco.
Yes, sir, and I'm going to have Wesley prepared to support us on this, but this easement would allow the city of Waco to do some work with infrastructure there in front of River Valley Middle School. And what they're talking about doing is adding infrastructure to help support some of the water and underground electrical they want to do to kind of push facilities out toward the river. They've had a limited easement, a utility easement, and this would be a broader type of easement than that. You can see on the drawing where they, the sidewalk in front of our building, they're going to disrupt, they're going to replace as they do some work around the front of that building. I was asking Wesley when they think they'll start work, and they may start doing a little preliminary stuff in the late spring, but we're not likely to see them do anything significant until next summer is the last that we discussed. When they gave us the original easement, or the MOU, I had concerns about it not doing enough to carve out and protect our digital sign and a light pole we have sitting there. So we gave the MOU to Ms. Teakle and asked her to work on that to protect that digital sign and light pole, and so she worked on that a little bit to clean that up. And so that's where that stands. We've been going back and forth with them on this for a little while. Wesley, would you add anything to that?
No, sir. Yeah, it's a right-of-way easement, kind of laying on top of that utility easement that we gave them previously. And like I said, they may start some preliminary work this year, but they were looking at maybe next summer.
Do we know how long it's expected to take?
To do the work? No, ma'am.
Is there, other than the concern about the digital sign, is there any concern about disruption to parents driving in and out, drop off, anything like that?
Yeah, it'll block that entrance.
Yes,
right?
ma'am. There's concern. We would have to work with them as they start to do their project to make sure that we coordinate all of the entrance and egress from the building. And part of that will depend on the timing of the work. So if they're able to knock most of it out in the summer, it wouldn't be as significant. But we would have to work with them, not unlike how we've had to work with different groups in front of Spring Valley. And it's concerning, especially on that road. That's a big campus for that street.
Yep.
So we would have to continue to stay in communication with them on that front.
And I'm looking at this agreement item 4, we will replace return the surface area back to a substantially equivalent condition. What's been our previous experience on this kind of thing before? When they come in and rip up our property, do they put it back the way it's supposed to be? Do we have any prior?
I'm going to defer to Wesley on that. I've been here almost 2 years, so like prior experiences, like they've done a good job in front of the high school, for example, the Mars Road work that they did, they put back better than they found it, so that went well. I have some firsthand experience with that one. That's the only one I have.
Yeah, I can't recall any others recently.
I asked that question, and this goes back quite some years, but having a neighborhood parking area ripped up for plumbing, for large pipes, and it was substantially worse than when they, I see it's in writing. I just wanted to voice that as a concern.
And I don't see money on here anywhere, correct? They're not paying us.
$10.
There
What
what?
it said.
Oh, you saw $10? I didn't see that. They were
Pretty much
paying
nothing.
us, compensating us.
Are they?
Con said he saw $10.
It said something in there about I don't know, whatever, maybe not. My question is just, not in jest at all, but I would assume they're going to make sure the sidewalk gets put back if they tear that up, right? Because I know sidewalks and easements on school campuses is kind of an important issue these days.
Yeah, and just, I'm sure everybody's aware, these improvements are going to be to our benefit down the road, literally
Right,
down
right,
the road.
yeah.
So
Down the
it's-
road.
It's great that they're going ahead and getting this
Oh,
done.
yeah. That
Do we have
needs
to
be
approve
done.
this tonight?
I'm sorry?
Are we approving this tonight?
It's for action, yes, ma'am. It doesn't have to be, but it's for action, yes, ma'am.
Do you have a concern about acting on it tonight, Pam?
Are we, you said Ms. Tinkle got this all hammered out to our
She did in the MOU agreement.
Relative to that, let me say this. Our agenda item literally says the MOU agreement. I know Angela's worked on the MOU agreement. I don't have any problem with the MOU agreement. And I don't have any problem with us acting as a board tonight to approve that, if that's what there's a motion and a second, and a majority votes to approve it. I don't like the way the easement document is worded because it says nothing about protecting our digital sign and light pole. The MOU does, but the easement document itself doesn't. And in light of what you said, Dr. Allen, Chris, about when they would start on this work, I don't have any problem with us approving the MOU tonight and deferring authorizing signing of the easement and let Angela go back to those folks and put adequate wording in the easement document itself, because that's what gets filed of record.
So, we'll do that. I'm also comfortable with just push this to next month and not do any of it, because that might put a little more pressure on the city of Waco to get it turned around as quickly as they, if we don't do anything, and they'll get it fixed by July. And potentially have them come back and present and talk about it a little bit with this, with these questions.
I don't have any need for them to come talk to us about it. If they fix it in a manner that meets your approval and Angela's approval, we could even have it on the consent agenda next go around, right?
Yes, sir.
And I don't have any problem with deferring it till then, if that's what the board wants to do.
But from a legal perspective, you're saying the MOU and the easement, we could act separately on those?
We could.
We don't have to act together on
We
it?
don't have to act together
Okay.
on
I
it.
think it would be, it would be a better gesture if we went ahead and acted on the MOU and then left the corrections for this to match up for next month. I mean, that shows that it doesn't get misinterpreted in any way.
Understood.
So,
Yeah.
Shows we want to move forward.
Yeah,
We just
yeah, yeah,
have
yeah.
some-
That being said, is there a motion to approve execution of the MOU?
So move.
Motion by Mr. Tullis.
Second.
Second by Mr. Witt. Further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Thank y'all. We'll take that up again for the second piece of it in July.
Great.
Public hearing on our budget. Wesley, do you want to say anything before we open the public hearing?
Yes, sir, just the three budgets proposed for adoption are here presented in your board packet on page 573. No changes from last month. The budgets have been posted to our website, also posted for circulation in the newspaper as required by the Texas Education Code.
Very good. So we are briefly going to pause, as it were, not actually recess and leave the meeting for a moment. We're going to open the public hearing on the proposed budget for 24-25 fiscal year and invite any members of the public who wish to address the board on this proposed budget to please come forward. Mr. Pierce didn't stay for this, I guess, so. All right, hearing from no members of the public, we'll close the public hearing, reconvene the board meeting, and take up adoption of the budget for 24-25. And I guess I'd open it up to the board if the board has any questions, comments, discussion item on it. And if not, we've looked at the budget long enough, a motion to approve adoption.
The only question that I have is the numbers here showing ending fund balance at the end of this budget have accounted for the changes in fund balance based on where we are. The report that you gave earlier today, the 4.5 million, all of that's all been accounted for already, right?
Yes, this is the estimated, right, that's taken into account in this
Okay.
estimate, yes.
Other questions? Discussion? If not, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Green,
Second.
second by Mr. Tullis. There was a long pause. Anybody have anything else they want to say about this? I just want to note that understanding that part of it is the adoption of the Vader, as it were, and part of it is the adjustment of our fiscal year, so it's not quite as dramatic as it seems, but our proposed finish out for 23-24 versus our projection for 24-25, and we know that that'll move some, but that's a $5 million swing. It's substantial. So, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Thank y'all for that. That special time of year, delegate or an alternate for the TASB Delegate Assembly. Each of you have a card underneath yours. No, you really don't.
I'd like to volunteer to fall on that grenade this year.
Would you?
Yes.
I move that Ms. Watts be our delegate, and I will volunteer to be the alternate. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Watts. We appreciate that.
There's a method in my madness, and you'll see that, hear that in just a second.
Nomination of a candidate to the TASB Board of Directors. We get to do that. Y'all have looked at what's in the board packet. Y'all want to nominate anybody?
I have a question. I wonder if Ms. Watts is interested in that.
I believe she is. I was going to nominate her.
Yes.
I will let Susan do what she was planning to do.
Yes, I'm very interested in that.
I was going to nominate Pam Watts as our delegate.
What do you mean is the?
I'm sorry, no,
as
the
a
TASB,
nominee?
yeah, nominee candidate to TASB Board of Directors.
Which is different than serving as a delegate to the Delegate Assembly.
But assuming the one that will tie in with the other, so if that goes forward, I will need to be there anyway, so I may as well be there.
Very good. So we have a nomination. Any other nominations? If not, we'll vote on the nomination for Ms. Watts, because I don't think that takes a second. I think it's just a nomination. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That carries unanimously. Congratulations. And we don't get to further vote on who gets elected to the Board of Directors.
That's correct, that will be voted on at that delegate assembly, assuming, I don't know, we'll have to see who else running for that position.
And that's the Region 12 delegates
That
that
is the
vote on that.
representative for Region 12, Mildred currently.
Yeah. All right, very good. Any action or discussion, closed session on personnel?
No, sir.
It's a good summer-like answer. Superintendent's Communications.
There's been a lot of celebrations tonight, and I just didn't want it to pass without noting that we are in June, and we still had a room full of kids, which means that we're being successful to the very last day. And I'm just proud of our district and our leadership and our adults who work with those young people to make sure that we are staying invested in them, like to the very last minute and beyond. And so there are not very many districts in the state of Texas that 11 out of 12 months, they recognize the students for something excellent that's going on. And I also want to echo comments you'd made. I was going to mention this anyway, but the work that Wesley has done on our budget and pulling us from one position and into another, it's an ongoing battle, but the work that they do out of the finance office, I see Cindy sitting out here, they work really hard making sure that we try and stay on top of things. And then my final comment was, if you didn't notice on your way in, and I don't know how you would have, our Midway ISD police vehicles, they're not official yet because we're not TCOL certified yet, but we continue to put pieces together in that pursuit. And we hope that by the time we come to that July board meeting, Jeff Foley did our last inspection with them and it was passed, and we're just kind of waiting on final word. And the person who did the inspection said we'd get final word anywhere in 7 to 30 days. So it's a nice big window for them to try and hit, but we expect that to continue to move forward on that one.
Very good. On the recognition, I think that I would ask that the administration, on behalf of the board, express how impressed I was with the students that were here tonight, how many of them there were, looked like the whole entire team, and they stayed the entire time.
Yes,
sir. Yeah.
Yeah, in June.
Yeah, exactly.
We usually don't have that.
So, closed session. We need to go into closed session on request for special ed mediation. We'll go in there under 551.071, .074, and .0821 at, 8:18? Anybody need to stop before we go in there? Otherwise, we'll go in there.